Okay, so we talk about love all the time, right? But I think it's worth asking, do we really know what it is?
Yeah, for sure. It's a word we toss around pretty freely.
Exactly. And today we're doing a deep dive into, well, love, and specifically how it's different from lust.
Ah, the age-old question.
Right. Like, are they the same? Totally different. And how can we even tell? Luckily, we've got a great source to guide us today called, and this is a mouthful, Love versus Lust. Understanding the difference and building lasting love.
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think what's really cool about this text is it doesn't just define love and lust, but it helps us figure out how to actually cultivate lasting love.
Because let's be honest, like, who doesn't want that, right?
Exactly. So maybe we should start by looking at what this source says about the differences between love and lust. What are we actually talking about here?
Well, the source really dives into how each one impacts our relationships and even hints at how we can shift from that initial, infatuation to something deeper.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we go from fireworks to something, I don't know, more like a slow burn?
Well, I think to start, we've got to lay out the core differences between these two powerful emotions.
Makes sense.
hmm
So lust first, I guess. What is it really? Besides, that initial spark.
Right. It's more than just a spark, that's for sure. Lust is really driven by that raw physical attraction and a surge of, well, hormones, to be honest.
Like what kind of hormones are we talking?
Think testosterone, dopamine, all those chemicals that create a sense of urgency, excitement, even a little bit of obsession. And
Dopamine. That's the pleasure chemical, right?
tango.
Yeah.
It basically rewards us for pursuing things that are, well, pleasurable, and it makes us want more. So it makes sense that lust can feel so good.
But it doesn't necessarily last.
Exactly. It can be fleeting. And that dopamine rush can be kind of like a drug, right?
Oh.
Leading to those cravings and even addiction.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that.
So while it's definitely exciting, it might not be the most solid foundation for a long-term relationship.
I've definitely felt that. Those intense infatuations that fizzle out after a while. So let's talk about love then. What's going on chemically when we're talking about love?
Love, it's a whole different ballgame, chemically speaking. It taps into a different set of brain chemicals, oxytocin, for example.
Oxytocin, that sounds familiar.
You might know it as the cuddle hormone.
Oh, right. Like with moms and babies.
Exactly. It's released during things like childbirth and breastfeeding. That's why that bond between a mother and child is so strong.
Wow, that's fascinating.
But it also plays a huge role in romantic relationships. It promotes those feelings of trust, connection, that sense of really being attached to your partner.
So love actually strengthens our bond on a chemical level.
You got it. And there's also vasopressin, which is linked to protectiveness and loyalty. Together, they create a much deeper sense of connection and commitment than we see with lust.
So if love have all these amazing benefits, how do we get there? How do we go from that initial lust, that spark, to something deeper?
Well, the source talks about, shared values, mutual respect, and open communication. Those are key.
Right, like they're not just like nice bonuses. They're essential ingredients.
Absolutely. These are the building blocks of trust and intimacy, the foundation for a lasting connection.
Okay, but relationships aren't always smooth sailing, right? What happens when things get rough? Can love really survive those challenges?
That's a great question, and the source addresses that too. It emphasizes that love, genuine love, is incredibly resilient. Like, it can weather the storms.
So it's not just about how we feel at the beginning.
Nope, it's a choice, a commitment to working through those challenges together, even when it's hard, choosing to love your partner, even when you don't always like them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about actively choosing to keep that connection strong.
Exactly. Like, love's not a passive thing, it's an action. It's showing up for your partner, communicating openly and honestly, making the relationship a priority no matter what life throws your way.
That's powerful stuff. I think our listeners are getting a lot to think about today.
Yeah, I hope so. Because knowing the difference between love and lust, that's just the first step. The real journey starts when we actively choose to cultivate those qualities that help love grow and flourish.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect note to end on. This has been an incredible deep dive. And for all of you listening, remember, love is a journey. It's about growing together, both individually and as a couple. So keep exploring, keep those lines of communication open, and most importantly, keep choosing love.
Couldn't have said it better myself.